And the question I wanted to ask you is, who do you think is likely to have a breakout season, Jaden Ivey or Jalen Duren?
Whew, that's a good question. That is a very good question. I think I think the opportunity is higher for Jalen Duren just because I think, again, we talked about it this whole time. I think Cade is going to give him those looks to be able to finish at the rim, to grow and show how dominant he can be in the paint. Something about Jaden Ivey feels like I just think he's slept on right now. I really think I do think he saw those guys being brought in, and I don't want to say it's like a writing on the wall type deal, but I do think he understands, like you said, the contract situation. This team hasn't been good. And I think you're one of the biggest X factors for where this team goes trajectory wise. And again, with Fred Vincent here, he's going to be spending a lot of time with him. I've already heard that they've been working together and trying to get, a little bit more continuity and rhythm with his shot. Even with like a little clip I think he did of a camp, I think, again, his jump shot looks a lot more polished than we've seen over the past couple of seasons. So I feel like that breakout year is more likely for Ivy just because I don't think it'll be as confusing as it was last season for him. I think he's going to start. I think he's going to see those reps as kind of the backup to, like, I don't see Marcus Sasser just being the backup point to kind of table set the second unit. I don't see that happening. I think they're going to use Ivy for a lot of that. And I think he's going to be able to take advantage of a lot of those matchups playing against bench rotational guys. I think he's going to be able to blow past them. I think he's going to be able to show off some of that athleticism that we didn't really get to see a whole lot of last season. I don't remember a whole lot of dunks from him, unfortunately. That was one of the things that he was best at coming in from the draft. So I don't know. I don't think his jump shot is going to be the necessarily like the predicate to decide whether or not he is growing or getting to that place. I don't think that's an immediate need, even though it would be helpful for sure. I don't think he needs to be Devin Booker sniping from three in order to get to where we think he's going to be next season. I think he's going to be able to grow in other areas. I think you are going to see an uptick in his scoring based on other ways of how he can get the ball. And I don't know. I see that growth from him more so than Duren. And again, it's not that Duren can't get there. I do believe that's going to happen, but I think Duren's impact is going to be defensively. I don't know how much growth we're going to see offensively from him this season. We'll see what happens, but I think it's leaning towards Ivy as of right now.
Yeah, I think both of these players are very polarizing with the fan base. Both have different stands. I feel like Jaden Ivey fans are they come for your head way more than JD fans.
Yes.
I had some Jaden Ivey fans come at me when I was doing podcast with Czar last week. I was just
Shout
like,
out to
yo,
Czar.
man. Yeah, shout out Czar, man. Good dude. I said something I didn't agree with, which, hey, I get it. I piss people off every week. I guess it's just kind of the title. Like, I'm not always going to say stuff that you like, but I think to your point, Ivy is probably more likely to have a breakout season, and I'll explain why I think that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Dwayne Casey and Monty Williams, his role changed completely.
Yep.
I think with JB Bickerstaff, I think bringing in a guy that's very level-headed, says he wants to make it fun. I think Jaden Ivey, for the first time in his career, and a lot of players that got drafted by Trey Weaver, they're going to have defined roles. They're not going to have to be playing out of position. They're not going to have to just create something on the fly. Jaden Ivey is probably going to have a defined role, and who better not to teach him than a guy that just worked with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And those are two all-star guards that, made the playoffs, and that's where they want to go. I mean, I remember Donovan Mitchell talking to Jaden Ivey after a game. I don't know what he said to him, but Jaden Ivey was getting talked to by Russell Westbrook, Donovan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people saw how he was getting misused by Monty Williams. They just told him, keep your head up, kid. Like, you're there. You're getting there. I think Jaden Ivey is due for a breakout season because I think he's going to be put in positions where he's okay with it. He's okay with, maybe he's not, starting all, 48 minutes with Cade Cunningham or however many minutes he does play. Maybe he does play a little bit of backup point guards. We've seen him, have the ball in his hands and he flourishes. We've seen him playing off ball with Cade Cunningham and it looks nice. It looks good.
Yep.
I've never watched Cade and Jaden Ivey, and I was like, oh man, don't play those guys ever together again. Like it doesn't work. I've never had that like opinion watching those two together. My only opinion is we really haven't seen them play together that much yet to have a clear, concise opinion saying, okay, we have to move on from Cade. We have to move on from Ivy. Ivy's better than Cade. Like we haven't seen those guys play enough games to have those opinions yet. That's why I think Jaden Ivey's going to have a breakout season more likely than Jalen Duren. Not to say JD can't have a breakout season. I think JD has more expectations on him than Jaden Ivey just because of the defense last year. Like fans are going to be on his ass if he's not at least protecting the rim or trying to block shots. You know how Pistons fans are. Like if he's not showing effort on the defensive end, I think he actually has more pressure on him than Jaden Ivey does this upcoming season.
I totally agree with that last point. I think your other point going to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, I think this is why it was so mind-blowing that he got let go, and then to hear that him and Donovan Mitchell had conflict. I feel like his ability to make those two guys work, and again, they're undersized guards, not the best defenders. They both can heat up, but to an extent, they're kind of similar to each other. And I don't feel that way about Cade and Jaden Ivey. They're so different in terms of what their skill sets are. It'll be easier to have defined roles for them. I think it'll be easier to put them in position to score and be as productive as they can be if you were able to do that with two guys that were super similar to each other. And again, I just think it makes a little bit more sense based on how much you'll have the ball, how much how the resources around him will be able to fit with him a little bit better compared to like what Duren is going to do. I feel like while Duren is a great player and I do like him as a focal point moving forward, his expectation, like we keep saying, it's on defense. I don't think they're going to be throwing the ball to him on the block consistently saying, hey, help us out here. Like, I just don't think that's going to be a part of their game plan. It may help in some areas, but I just don't think that's going to happen consistently. Ivy's going to have a lot of looks to be that established number two scorer. Because as of right now, the Pistons don't have that. And I feel like if Tobias Harris is that guy, that's going to be a little bit of a worry. Unless if it's a big drop off between Tobias and Jaden in terms of their scoring averages, I think that's going to be a bit of a worry. So the Pistons kind of need to see Ivy step in and kind of solidify himself as one of those primary scorers that can take some pressure off Cade Cunningham. Because I don't know how much longer we can see Cade get tripled and double teamed the way he has been throughout his career. Like, I don't think Duren is going to help that a ton. I think Ivy has to be that guy to kind of take some of that pressure off. And if JB has the plan and the IQ that we think he has, I think it's going to be able to work.
Yeah, same here. I think so too. You could try to replace Ivy, but here's the thing: you're not going to be able to replace his speed and just his dynamic play. Mm-hmm. Like, you could go out and get a movement two guard, but you're not going to find a guy that has a quick first step like Jaden Ivey, his ability to get to the rim and all that stuff. Like, those guys do not grow on trees. But I do think Jaden Ivey is going to have a better season. I just hope he doesn't have like coaching PTSD where there's another new coach critiquing him. And it's just like, we talked about it earlier. Like, we know, physically he can play, but, I think the mental part of the game is actually more crucial than what these players can do on the court. Cause we really don't know how much damage Monty Williams did to that kid's confidence. We really don't know. To your point, we didn't really see too many, cryptic tweets or F Monty or anything like that. We saw that from the fans, though. I mean, like the fans did their fair share. They're still doing it to this day. But I mean, the team. I really hope that he has the mental strength to just bounce back. Mm-hmm. All these players, just not Jaden Ivey, like every young player on this team, because I think there was just so much damage from a development and a timeline situation last year. I felt like you wasted a whole year last year of development with Jaden Ivey. Like, it should have been Jaden Ivey starting next to Cade Cunningham game one.
Yes.
We would have so much more answers, Eric, of can these two play together? Yes. Now we're still having those questions. Can these two play together? But we had Killian Hayes for 41 games last season when it should have been Jaden Ivey for all 82, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree more. Another good note that Javen Hunter, again, Ivy's dad, just kind of spoke to, him and Cade, they want to make this work. Again, they've showed the ability to sacrifice. Neither of them come off as chuckers. Oh, I got to get mine. I got to be the man. I got to be able to do this. They both sacrifice. They both are passers. They're willing passers. They're willing to play off ball. Again, I want to see them use Cade off ball even more to put on the block and take advantage of his size and strength. And if you have Ivy at the top of the key to kind of make that happen, I think that works. I mean, granted, we didn't even get to see Duren and Ivy in pick and roll situations too much often. Like, there's a lot of Cade and Duren, but Ivy's lightning quick. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. And I just think that has to be something that they look into. And you're right. It really does make me mad that we don't have an answer yet at this point in terms of if they fit. And it's not because of them. It's because of how Monty didn't even give us a chance to take a look. Even when Killian wasn't starting, they put Alec Burks in the lineup. Like, it's none of that made sense. And I feel like, granted, yes, could it be a world that exists where maybe a stationary shooter next to Cade Cunningham is his best fit? Sure, that's possible. But looking at the landscape of the league, you just said it. It's not a lot of two guards that you could even kind of make those kind of moves for. It's not a lot of dominant, like, two guards that would fit next to a guy like Cade. And I feel like with Ivy's skill set, again, his willingness to adapt and show his maturity within the lineup, within his coaching, within his discipline as a player, I feel like it makes the most sense to, I'm not giving him the keys, but put that expectation on him to say, hey, we want to see what you can do. Let's put the ball in his hand. Let's, like, put him in a position where he can show that he can be one of those primary scorers for this team, because I feel like that needs to happen. Duren's expectation is being the best defender in the paint for the Pistons. Ivy has to become that guy that takes that pressure of scoring off of Cade Cunningham more than anybody else on the roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I'm Jalen Duren, I'm not letting Asar Thompson block more shots than me in a year.
No way.
I made a graphic, and a lot of people thought I was shitting on Duren. I wasn't shitting on Duren. I'm like, Asar Thompson blocked more shots than Duren, and people say it was taken out of context. There's no context to take. He blocked more effing shots.
Yes.
As a rookie, as a 6'6" rookie, you have 3 inches on the guy. Pause. Literally, like, Duren should be at least blocking close to 100 shots a year, in my opinion. I think he's that type of a center. But to your point, like, you're not going to be able to really replace Ivy. I honestly think he is going to have a breakout year. I think a lot of the questions that fans have are, consistency with the 3-point shot, being the defender that we saw glimpses of last year, being more of that two-way shooting guard next to Cade Cunningham, and just letting them play, seeing if it can work, because I don't even think they've played 100 games together yet.
They haven't. They have not. They have not started enough next to each other. Repetitions have not been there. And again, even when they are on the floor together, it just seemed like Monty was sticking them in the corner and letting Cade and Duren just play pick and roll ball, hopefully where Cade can find a mid-range jumper. We've got 2-3 guys in his face. Like, that can't be the play. That can't be the move. We've seen JB Bickerstaff show the ability to use his players off ball, like Mitchell, like Garland. I think we're going to see a lot more of that with Jaden Ivey, whose speed and athleticism is up and through the charts. I think we're going to see a lot better production and structure with those guys offensively compared to last season.